Welcome back, NFL fans. You're locked in for another trip through gridiron history, one forgotten classic at a time. Today, the time machine is dropping us off at Wrigley Field, November 1st, 1931, for a meeting of the 3-2 Chicago Bears and the 6-0 Green Bay Packers. The two teams had met 20 times prior to this game, with Green Bay owning a 9-8-3 edge. There were an estimated 30,000 fans at the baseball stadium. Curly Lambeau coached the Pack. Now in his 11th season leading the team, he had a 77-28-14 record, along with the last two NFL championships, and the next one too. Ralph Jones was in his second season leading the Bears, after taking over from Papa Bear George Halas. Jones was 12-6-1, and would lead the Bears to the NFL championship with a 7-1-6 record in 1932. I guess that was before overtime. Of course, there's no video, and there's no pictures. Well, there's a few, I guess. But I do have a newspaper story by Arthur W. Bystrom of the Green Bay Press-Gazette. I'll do my best to bring this game to life for you. With permission of the Green Bay Press-Gazette, here we go. Were you one of the 30,000 fans who saw Mike Mikuleski dash 80 yards for a touchdown here yesterday? If you were not, gather around. We'll tell you about one of the greatest runs seen in many a year that gave the Packers a 6-2 victory over the team they would rather beat more than any other National League 11. Mike's run came midway in the second period. It came unexpectedly, like a heaven-sent gift, to turn the tide of a hard, smashing ball game to Green Bay's favor. Picture this setting. The Packers had hammered the Bears' line for nearly half an hour without results. True, they had made a few first downs and had gone beyond midfield, but they never threatened. The Bears likewise had pounded hard and often at the powerful Packer wall, but neither side yielded to allow opponents down beyond the 25. Then the Bears began to click. Bronco Nagurski, the big Minnesota battering ram, smashed through the right side of the Packer line, bowled over one man, and kept on going, 21 yards before he was brought down on the Packer 40-yard line. Red Grange went over right guard for 9 yards, and then found a hole in center to put the ball on the 26-yard line. That set the stage for the turning point of the game. Brumbaugh slipped back to pass. Big, broad Cal Hubbard came charging at him like a locomotive. Brumbaugh couldn't throw the ball to the man the play called for, as Cal smashed into him, so he threw wildly to the left side of the field. Mike Mikuleski came bounding out from behind the line. He grabbed the ball on his own 20-yard line and started to gallop. Stallman cut down one Bear man who nearly caught Mike. Cal Hubbard picked himself up after mussing up Brumbaugh and blocked out another Bear man as Mike continued to tear down the west side of the field. Gantenbein followed Mike, both galloping at top speed as Link Lyman cut across the gridiron to try and head him off. Down they went, with Lyman closing in as they got to the 15-yard line. Gantenbein slackened his pace momentarily and threw himself at Lyman, and the Bear tackle went down hard. He was the only man with a possible chance to get Mike, and when he was blocked out, Mike finished the run. Red Dunn missed the try for the extra point by a kick, but it didn't matter, as the 6 points were enough to win. There were other sensational plays in this ball game, as there always is when the Bears and Packers tangle, but the run was by far the outstanding event. There was, for instance, the kicking of Dick Nesbitt, former Drake star, who showed the Packers a few tricks about punting. There was also the line smashing of the Big Bear halfback, and the running of Grange and Molesworth, who continually threatened to break loose for dashes that might have meant touchdowns. There was one run by Molesworth after intercepting a pass in the third period that almost gave the Bears a score. He broke loose on the prettiest open field run of the game, sidestepped, reversed his field, cut back, and did everything to avoid Packer tacklers, but finally was stopped at the 25, when it looked like he was going to go the rest of the way to the goal. Then there was the play of the two lines. Hard, rough, and bruising, the forward wall men pounded into each other, with neither side yielding, without the bitterest kind of struggle. On the Packers line, they all did their bit with Gantenbein at end, and Dick Stallman and Red Slate, tackles, and Mikuleski probably the outstanding performers. Before we go any further, we might tell about the Bears' 2 points. The score came early in the third period, with Red Dunn the victim. Nesbitt got off a great kick, which Red grabbed on the 2-yard line. Before Red could get started, he was boxed by Johnsis and Garland Grange. Attempting to run out, Dunn circled backwards over the goal, but the two Bear ends closed in and smashed him down before he could get into the field of play. The game was tense, occasionally sensational, often thrilling, and always dogged. Both teams seemed to be suffering the effects of super tension. They were so intent on winning that inadvertently they tightened up and couldn't loosen up for consistent, smooth attacks. The Bears were keyed to such a pitch that occasionally, when scoring opportunities presented, they couldn't take advantage of them. On 2 occasions, pass plays failed when receivers dropped balls, which ordinarily would have been caught. Fumbles when scoring opportunities were available were also indications of over-anxiety by the Bears. The Packers were alert to take advantage of Bear mishaps, recovering most of the Chicagoans' fumbles. The Bears, on the other hand, failed to take advantage of the breaks, and this probably was the deciding factor in the game. An unusual feature was the scarcity of completed forward passes. Timing of pass plays was poor, due probably to rushing tactics used by both teams. As a result, only 1 pass was completed by the Bears. Another was given them for interference, while the Packers could only complete 1 heave. Tackling and blocking was vicious and hard. Occasionally it was rough beyond necessity, but the officials did nothing about it. All who played took punishment, as they have seldom taken it in any game. Punting played an important part of the game. The Bears had it over the Packers in this department by a wide margin. Both Blood and Llewellyn had off days in kicking, probably due to the fact that they were being rushed and had to hurry kicks. Nesbitt punted from far beyond the line of scrimmage and got off some great boots, one of his kicks traveling more than 75 yards. An opening period thrust by the Packers was impressive, but it failed of its purpose after carrying the invaders into Chicago territory. Bo Melinda started it off by smashing through right tackle for a gain of 25 before he was hauled down. Bo and Llewellyn went through for another first down around the 25-yard mark. A line play failed to gain, so the Packers started passing. The overhead game didn't connect, and on the 4th down, Lou punted out of bounds on the Bear 20-yard mark, and it was the Bears' turn to attack. The Bears wasted no time, and Nagurski and Grange alternated in some fine ball carrying. They smashed ahead for 3 first downs, and it looked like they were going to continue down the field. But Nagurski fumbled, Llewellyn recovered, and the assault was stopped for the time being. Shortly after the start of the second period, Nagurski ripped through the line and kept on going for 21 yards before he was brought down. Grange picked up 15 yards on 2 fast plays, cutting through the line to put the ball on the 25. Then the Bears called a pass, and Mike intercepted it for his touchdown run. Both teams threatened again in the period without result. The Packers were set back after 2 successive first downs by a 15-yard penalty, and they had to punt after 1 drive, and Molesworth fumbled after a Bear drive, and McCrary recovered for the Packers on the 30-yard mark. Again, in the third period, after the Bears had counted 2 points on the safety, the Packers stopped a Bear attack by recovering a fumble. Nagurski was stopped on the line of scrimmage after the Bears had advanced to midfield, and he fumbled, Michaleski recovering. It was after this play that Molesworth intercepted a pass by Saunders and started his sensational dash. He cut to the left and sidestepped as 2 Packers tried to run him out of bounds. Slate cleverly made Molesworth run across the field by close guarding, although he was not quite in a position to tackle him. As he forced the speedy Bear halfback across the gridiron, other Packers were able to come up from behind and nailed Molesworth on the 25-yard line. The Bears tried 1 line play from this spot and failed to go far, and then opened up with passes. 2 heaves, intended for John Sos, were knocked down and Red Dunn smashed another, intercepted for Garland Grange on the goal line. The Packers took the ball. The final period was wild with the Bears trying desperate passes. Blood intercepted 1 heave to carry the ball back to his own 27, and Wilson intercepted another, making up for a fumble that gave the Bears the ball in midfield a moment before.